Hey everyone, I'm here to help you relax and drift off tonight. If you enjoy using these videos to fall asleep, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more calming content. Share where you're watching from and what time it is for you. I'd love to know. Now settle into a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's start unwinding together. Marius de Cord had always known that his life was touched by sorrow and inevitability. Born under an omen, a comet streaking through a night of bitter winter, the villagers whispered that he was cursed, that fate had already inscribed a tragic destiny upon his heart. As a child, he would lie awake on cold nights, staring at the fractured beams of moonlight on his wooden floor, wondering if the darkness held secrets meant only for him. In the taverns of his small village, elders recounted the legend of the lantern that appeared when doom approached, a spectral beacon that illuminated the path to one's final journey. Marius, though burdened by melancholy, felt an inexplicable draw to these stories, a hope, however faint, that perhaps his cursed fate could be confronted or even redeemed. Years passed, and Marius grew into a quiet, introspective man whose eyes seemed to carry the weight of unseen sorrows. His days were spent in solitude, poring over ancient texts and scribbled journals in a modest study within his family's crumbling estate. The once grand manor, now a tapestry of faded portraits and whispered memories, seemed to echo with voices from the past. It was here, amidst the relics of a time when his ancestors had dared to challenge fate, that he uncovered a dusty manuscript containing fragmented accounts of the mystical lantern. The manuscript spoke of a ritual long lost, a way to summon the lantern, which would then reveal a path only visible to those whose souls were steeped in inevitable doom. Some pages warned that the lantern's light could not be turned away, that once seen, it would mark the bearer for a journey into the unknown. Others hinted at the possibility that its glow might also guide the soul toward a final, bittersweet redemption. Torn between the desire to escape the relentless burden of his destiny and the hope that he might find meaning in his doomed existence, Marius resolved to seek out this mysterious lantern. Late one stormy evening, as bitter winds howled outside and the manor's ancient timbers creaked in protest, Marius sat by the flickering light of a single candle. The manuscript lay open before him, its faded ink dancing in the candlelight. He deciphered a passage that described a moonless night when, at the stroke of midnight, the lantern would reveal itself along an abandoned road deep in the forest. A road that, according to legend, only appeared to those whose fate was sealed. The words stirred something deep within him. The passage read, "When the veil of night is absolute and the heart carries despair's eternal mark, the lantern of doom shall blaze forth, guiding the lost to their final passage. He who beholds its ghostly flame must choose to follow the path laid out by destiny or to defy it in a desperate bid for redemption." With trembling hands and a heart heavy with both dread and hope, Marius resolved to leave the confines of his ancestral home. He would follow the instructions set forth in the ancient text, embarking on a pilgrimage that might finally answer the questions that had haunted him since childhood. Before the next new moon, Marius gathered a few belongings, a leather satchel, a worn journal, and the manuscript that had set his destiny in motion. As the village lay shrouded in an impenetrable darkness, and the wind carried the scent of impending rain, he stepped beyond the manor's creaking gates and into the wilderness. The path was little more than a rumor in the minds of the villagers, a narrow trail said to wind through ancient, gnarled forests and over forgotten brooks. Yet Marius had faith in the words of the manuscript and in the quiet call of fate. The journey was arduous. He traversed icy streams that cut across the forest floor and pressed on through wind-lashed clearings where the trees themselves seemed to lean in to whisper secrets. At times, the oppressive silence of the night was broken by the distant howl of wolves or the eerie rustle of leaves that appeared to murmur warnings. Every step forward was both an act of defiance and acceptance, a movement toward a destiny he had long tried to outrun. On the night when the sky was as dark as obsidian and the stars hid behind a heavy curtain of clouds, Marius reached a clearing deep within the forest. The manuscript had spoken of an old abandoned road that appeared only under such conditions, a road that shimmered faintly in the gloom like a ribbon of silver leading into oblivion. As the clock in his mind ticked toward midnight, he followed the spectral path until he came to a solitary stone archway draped in tangled ivy. It was there in the oppressive silence that Marius saw it, a delicate glow emerging from within the archway, as if a lantern had been lit by unseen hands. The light was pale and unearthly, neither warm nor inviting, but imbued with a profound sorrow. Its radiance spread slowly, revealing a narrow path beyond, illuminated only by that ghostly flame. His heart pounded as he realized that the lantern was real. It shone exclusively for those marked by destiny, the doomed. For a brief, trembling moment, he felt both terror and an inexplicable relief. Here, in the deep dark of the night, the cursed light beckoned him onward. Stepping under the archway, Marius felt the chill of the lantern's light seep into his very bones. The road ahead twisted and turned through a desolate landscape where dead trees reached upward like skeletal hands, and mist clung to the ground in mournful silence. Every step felt heavy, as if the weight of countless lost souls pressed upon him. The lantern's glow, constant and unwavering, guided him along the path, its light falling only on his feet in the immediate patch of road ahead, as though protecting him from the darkness that lay beyond. Along the way, the path was fraught with trials. Marius encountered sudden obstacles, a crumbling stone bridge suspended over a chasm filled with swirling fog, a narrow ravine lined with thorny brambles that snagged at his cloak, and moments when the path itself seemed to vanish into a void of despair. In these moments, the lantern's light flickered ever so slightly, as if warning him of the dangers ahead. Each trial forced him to confront his own inner demons, the fear of death, the burden of regret, and the sorrow of inevitable loss. Yet with every obstacle overcome, Marius found that the lantern's light grew steadier, and he began to realize that it was not merely guiding him toward his doom, but also offering him a final chance to understand and perhaps transcend it. As Marius pressed further along the forlorn path, the lantern's light revealed more than just the physical way. It illuminated memories long buried within him. In the flickering glow, he began to see visions, moments from his childhood filled with laughter and light, faces of loved ones who had vanished into the mists of time, and shadows of regrets that he had long tried to forget. These spectral images danced at the edges of his vision, their presence both comforting and tormenting. One such apparition was that of his mother, her gentle smile a stark contrast to the sorrow in her eyes. She reached out to him in the vision, as if urging him to remember her love and to let go of the bitterness that had hardened his heart. Another vision revealed the face of a dear friend lost to a senseless feud, a loss that had haunted him ever since. The lantern, it seemed, was not just a guide for the doomed. It was a mirror reflecting the deepest recesses of his soul, forcing him to confront every joy and every pain that had defined his life. These ghostly visitations left him emotionally raw, yet they also offered clarity. Marius began to understand that to continue down this path, he must embrace the totality of his past, the triumphs and the tragedies alike. The lantern's glow, unwavering and somber, reminded him that every memory, even those that brought pain, was a part of who he was. At the stroke of midnight, when the lantern's light shone at its most brilliant, Marius reached a clearing unlike any he had seen before. Here the air was thick with an almost tangible energy, and the silence was punctuated by the distant echoes of sorrowful music. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone pedestal, upon which rested an inscription carved in a language long forgotten. The inscription spoke of a prophecy, a destiny entwined with the lantern's curse. It read, "He who follows the lantern's ghostly gleam shall face his past and mend what has been torn. For doom may mark the path that seems extreme, yet in the heart of loss, new hope is born." As Marius read these words aloud, a surge of emotion flooded through him. The prophecy was not solely a curse, but a challenge, a chance to transform his doomed fate into an opportunity for redemption. In that moment, the lantern's light seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat, as if affirming that his journey was not merely an inexorable march toward death, but a passage toward a deeper understanding of life itself. With the prophecy echoing in his mind, Marius resolved to complete his journey. The path before him, once shrouded in impenetrable darkness, now appeared to open into a vast, misty plain, lit by the lantern's spectral glow. As he stepped onto this final stretch, he felt a transformation within, an awakening of a part of his soul that had lain dormant beneath layers of sorrow and regret. The lantern's light no longer felt like a harbinger of doom. It had become a beacon of truth, illuminating the parts of him that he had long denied. In the quiet solitude of that plain, Marius experienced a moment of profound clarity. He realized that his memories, both the beautiful and the painful, were the very essence of his being. To lock them away would be to erase the tapestry of his life, the very things that made him human. With a heavy heart, he understood that the lantern had never been meant to bring about his end, but rather to guide him toward the possibility of acceptance and healing. As the first hints of dawn touched the horizon, the lantern's light began to wane, its spectral glow softening like the dying embers of a once brilliant fire. Marius found himself standing at a crossroads, the path behind him, shrouded in the pain of loss and regret, and the road ahead, uncertain yet filled with the promise of renewal. In that silent, charged moment, he knew that he had reached the culmination of his journey. He had a choice to make: to allow the lantern's cursed destiny to claim him, sealing away all his memories and identity in eternal oblivion, or to embrace the fullness of his life, even if it meant carrying the weight of sorrow along with the light of hope. The words of the ancient inscription echoed in his mind. "In the heart of loss, new hope is born." With tears streaming down his weathered face, Marius took a deep breath and stepped forward into the uncertain light of day. He chose to hold fast to his memories, both the joyous and the painful, as they were the threads that wove together his identity. In doing so, he defied the very fate that the lantern had once promised, forging instead a path toward a future built on acceptance, resilience, and the quiet strength of a soul that had learned to love its own history. In the days and months that followed, Marius found that his journey had not ended at that lonely crossroads, but had only just begun. The lantern, true to its nature, faded from sight with the coming of dawn, its ghostly light reserved for the deepest hours of night and the most desperate of souls. Yet its lessons remained etched in his heart. He returned to his village a changed man, one who bore his memories with newfound grace. Marius became a quiet mentor to those who struggled with their own burdens, sharing the wisdom of his journey with gentle words and a knowing smile. In his later years, he recorded his experiences in a long, leather-bound journal that became a treasured heirloom for future generations. His writings spoke not only of doom and despair, but of the redemptive power of confronting one's past, of the importance of every memory, each a vital note in the symphony of life. The legend of the doomed lantern spread quietly among the people. They came to understand that while its eerie glow marked the path for the lost and the doomed, it also illuminated a journey towards self-discovery and healing, a journey that, though fraught with pain, ultimately led to a deeper appreciation of life's intricate beauty. On cold, starless nights, when the world seemed suspended between sleep and wakefulness, some claim that the spectral lantern might still appear to those burdened by inescapable fate. Whether it was a harbinger of doom or a guide toward redemption, the lantern remained a potent symbol, a reminder that the paths we walk are paved not only with the light of hope, but also with the shadows of our past. Marius de Cordes' journey became a timeless parable, a story passed down in whispers by those who had once feared the inexorable pull of destiny. His legacy endured in the hearts of those who chose to embrace every fragment of their being, the memories of both sorrow and joy, as essential to the human soul. For in the end, the lantern that only lights the way for the doomed was not a curse at all, but a solemn promise that even in our darkest hours, when fate seems sealed, we have the power to choose our own path, to reclaim our memories, to heal our wounds, and to step boldly into a future of our own making. Marina Bellamy, a quiet archivist with a passion for the old and mysterious, had always felt that her life was threaded with hidden meaning. Living in a creaking manor on the edge of an ancient forest, she spent long hours poring over faded letters, brittle diaries, and relics of bygone days. One rainy afternoon, while sorting through a trunk left by her great-grandmother, Marina uncovered a small, ornate box. Inside lay a tarnished key, fashioned of iron and etched with delicate, swirling symbols. It was unlike any key she had seen before. Its surface seemed to shimmer in the dim light, as though it carried the echoes of forgotten voices. As she held the key in trembling hands, Marina felt a sudden, inexplicable pull, a beckoning from the depths of her own memory. In that moment, she recalled vague fragments of childhood dreams, scenes of a mysterious door, the promise of secrets beyond, and a sense of loss that she could not quite name. With her heart both heavy and hopeful, Marina resolved to learn the true nature of this key and the power it might hold over the realm of memory. Determined to unravel the mystery, Marina embarked on a quest to gather every scrap of lore regarding the key. In the dusty stacks of the town's antiquarian library, she discovered a fragile manuscript titled Memoria et Oblivio, a treatise on the delicate balance between remembrance and forgetting. The manuscript told of an enchanted key, forged in a time when magic and memory were intertwined, and imbued with the power to lock away a person's memories forever. According to the text, the key was created as both a blessing and a curse, a means for some to escape unbearable pain and for others to lose the very parts that made them who they were. Marina learned that once the key was used to seal away memories, they would vanish into a deep, impenetrable vault of oblivion, inaccessible even to the one who had once held them dear. Yet the manuscript hinted at a final clause. Such an act was irreversible. In the act of locking away memories, one might achieve temporary relief, but at the cost of losing fragments of one's identity. The weight of this revelation pressed upon Marina's heart. Could it be that her own hidden sadness, the unspoken grief of loss and longing, was somehow connected to this relic? That evening, as twilight bled into the inkiness of night, Marina retreated to the manor's overgrown garden, a place where wild roses and ivy clung to ancient stone statues. There, beneath the whispering boughs of a century-old oak, she sat with the key cradled in her palm and her thoughts adrift. In the silence, memory stirred, the warmth of a mother's embrace, the bitter-sweet taste of summer fruit, the echo of laughter in sunlit rooms. Yet there was also a shadow, a loss, a moment of heartbreak that had once threatened to shatter her spirit. Haunted by these recollections, Marina contemplated the key's true purpose. Was it meant to grant escape from unbearable sorrow, or was it a cruel instrument that would strip away her very essence? As the night deepened, the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant call of an owl became the only witnesses to her inner turmoil. In a moment of resolve mingled with desperation, she wondered if using the key might offer relief, a way to lock away the pain that she had long carried in silence. Days turned into restless nights as Marina wrestled with her inner conflict. The key lay on her bedside table, its presence both comforting and foreboding. On one stormy night, when the wind howled outside like a chorus of anguished souls, Marina's sorrow reached its peak. The memories of a long-lost love, the bitter sting of a painful goodbye, and the ceaseless ache of regret pressed upon her heart. In the solitude of her candle-lit room, she held the key to her trembling lips, wondering if this small relic might grant her the release she so desperately sought. Her hands shook as she considered the irreversible act of locking away those memories. Yet in the quiet despair of that night, the promise of relief was a siren call too strong to resist. With tears blurring her vision, she made the fateful decision to use the key, to seal away the memories that haunted her in the hope that, in their absence, she might finally find peace. Marina devised a solitary ritual to activate the key's power. In the heart of the manor's ancient library, among the musty pages of forgotten lore, in the dim glow of an oil lamp, she arranged a circle of symbolic tokens: a faded photograph, a lock of hair, a pressed flower from her mother's garden, and a small vial of water collected from the spring where she had first learned of the key's legend. Each item represented a cherished memory, a fragment of her past that she had chosen to leave behind. With a steadying breath, she inserted the key into an ornate, inconspicuous lock on a hidden door in the library, a door she had never seen before. As if it had materialized at that moment, the key turned slowly, and as it did, a low hum filled the room, a sound that resonated with the very fabric of her being. One by one, the tokens vanished into a swirling mist, their physical forms dissolving as if they were being absorbed into the ether. In that surreal moment, Marina felt the weight of her memories lift, replaced by a hollow, echoing silence. In the days following the ritual, Marina was struck by an unexpected emptiness. The haunting pain that had once tormented her had indeed faded, leaving behind a profound silence. Yet as time passed, she began to realize that something irreplaceable had been lost. The vivid tapestry of her life, the joy of her childhood, the bittersweet echoes of love and laughter, even the scars that had made her resilient, had all been locked away, sealed off behind the key's irreversible power. Friends and acquaintances remarked on her changed demeanor. She was no longer the warm, vibrant soul they once knew, but a quiet, distant figure whose eyes held a mysterious emptiness. In quiet moments of reflection, Marina sensed that her identity was fraying at the edges. The memories she had chosen to forget were not mere burdens. They were threads that had woven her into the person she had become. Haunted by the realization that she had lost more than just sorrow, Marina embarked on a quest to retrieve what she had locked away. She scoured ancient texts, seeking any hint of a reversal, a way to unlock the vault of forgotten memories. In the margins of an old grimoire, she discovered a cryptic passage: "He who locks away the past must someday seek its release, for memory is the light by which the soul is guided." Determined to reclaim her lost self, Marina sought the counsel of an enigmatic figure known as the Keeper of Remembrance, a reclusive sage reputed to dwell in a crumbling tower at the forest's edge. The journey was long and arduous, filled with treacherous paths in the bitter chill of early autumn. Yet, fueled by hope and the desire to reclaim the mosaic of her life, Marina pressed on. Upon reaching the tower, she found the keeper, a wizened man with eyes that sparkled with the accumulated wisdom of countless years. He listened intently as she recounted her story, his expression grave, yet compassionate. "The key you possess is both a gift and a curse," he intoned softly. "Memories, even painful ones, are the essence of who we are. To lock them away is to deny your true self. But there is a way to restore what has been lost, if you are willing to journey deep into the labyrinth of your own soul. Under the Keeper's guidance, Marina embarked on a mystical journey within herself, a process of meditation, ritual, and introspection designed to traverse the hidden corridors of her mind. In a sacred clearing beneath a full moon, surrounded by ancient oaks that whispered secrets in the wind, she performed a counter-ritual. The Keeper instructed her to recreate the lost tokens, a photograph, a lock of hair, a flower, and the vial of water, and to hold them close to her heart as she recited incantations in a forgotten tongue. As the incantations rose into the night air, a palpable energy stirred around her. The ground beneath her feet pulsed with an ancient rhythm, and a spectral light emerged from the depths of the clearing. In that luminous glow, memories long sealed away began to flutter back into consciousness. Fleeting images of laughter, tears, and moments that defined her soul. The experience was both overwhelming and cathartic. Marina felt herself weeping with relief as the tapestry of her life, with all its imperfections, reassembled before her inner eyes. Yet the process was not without pain. The resurgence of buried memories brought with it the raw sting of old wounds. But as the memories returned, so too did a profound sense of wholeness. Marina understood that the key had not been a tool of salvation, but a catalyst, a stark reminder that every fragment of our past, both light and dark, is essential to our identity. In the weeks that followed, Marina worked tirelessly to reintegrate her recovered memories into her daily life. With the guidance of the Keeper, she learned to embrace both the joyous and the painful, understanding that the tapestry of her being was richer for its contrasts. She began to write in a new journal, a chronicle of her journey, detailing every moment of loss and every flicker of rediscovered hope. Her writing became a salve not only for her own soul, but for those who, in their own quiet despair, had come to believe that forgetting was the only escape from pain. Word of Marina's journey spread through her community, inspiring others to confront their own hidden sorrows. Small gatherings were held where people shared stories of lost memories and the healing power of recollection. In these humble assemblies, Marina's voice, once quiet and tentative, became a beacon of understanding and resilience. She spoke of the key that locks away memories forever, not as a curse to be feared, but as a reminder that our past, with all its imperfections, is the foundation upon which our future is built. Over time, Marina came to view the key not as an instrument of erasure, but as a profound metaphor for the choices we make regarding our memories. She learned that while the pain of loss might drive us to seek oblivion, true healing comes from the courage to face our past and integrate it into who we are. The key remained a mysterious relic, its power irrevocable and its lessons eternal. It was a reminder that some memories are too precious to lose, even if they bring sorrow. They are the light that guides us through our darkest hours. Marina established a small sanctuary within her manor, a room lined with ancient texts, illuminated by soft, ambient light, where people could come to reflect, share, and, if they so desired, attempt their own journey into memory. Here in the quiet sanctuary of shared vulnerability, the legacy of the key was honored. It became a symbol of resilience, a tribute to the truth that our memories, both beautiful and painful, are what make us whole. Years later, as the seasons turned and Marina's hair silvered with time, she looked back on her journey with both gratitude and humility. The key that once locked away her memories now rested in a small wooden box, a cherished artifact displayed with reverence in her sanctuary. Though its magic was immutable, its lesson had become clear. To live fully is to embrace every fragment of our past, to honor both the light and the shadows, and to understand that memory is the cornerstone of our identity. Marina's writing spread beyond the borders of her quiet village, touching the hearts of many who struggled with loss and the fear of forgetting. Her story, a blend of magic and truth, became a timeless reminder that while we may be tempted to lock away our pain, it is in facing our memories that we truly find our strength. In the soft glow of a fading autumn afternoon, as the leaves turned gold and the wind carried whispers of change, Marina sat in her sanctuary, the ancient key by her side. Around her, the voices of those who had come seeking solace mingled with the gentle rustle of pages turning in her journals. She smiled, knowing that the key, while it held the power to lock away memories forever, had also taught her that no memory, no matter how painful, is ever truly lost. They live on in our hearts, guiding us, teaching us, and reminding us that every moment of our past is a step toward a future filled with hope. And so, in that quiet room of reflection and renewal, Marina became not just a keeper of memories, but a living testament to the idea that even the most indelible marks of our lives are threads in the grand tapestry of being. Each memory, whether joyful or sorrowful, an eternal light that shapes who we are. In the small, weathered village of Blackport, where fishermen muttered old superstitions and elders spoke in hushed tones of the supernatural, the tale of the Phantom Mansion was well known. It was said that on the fiercest nights, when thunder rattled the windows and the rain fell like shattered glass, a grand mansion would rise out of the darkness. Some claimed it was built by a noble family centuries ago. Others whispered that it was a refuge for souls caught between worlds. For decades, the story had been nothing more than a bedtime tale for children and a curious oddity for the villagers, until the night that Mara, a young and intrepid historian with a passion for lost lore, decided to uncover its truth. Mara had grown up listening to the stories recounted by her grandmother beside a crackling fireplace. The image of a mansion cloaked in storm and mystery had become an obsession, a symbol of beauty, sorrow, and secrets waiting to be revealed. Now, with a battered journal and a heart full of determination, she set out on a journey into the tempest, following clues and half-remembered myths that led her toward the dark, churning horizon. As dusk fell on Blackport, the wind began to whisper ominous secrets. Clouds, heavy and swollen with unspent rain, crept across the sky like shadowed armies. Mara, dressed in a weathered coat and clutching her journal close, made her way to the edge of the village where the land met the relentless sea. The air was electric, charged with the promise of a storm that would soon awaken the mansion. With every step, her anticipation grew. The flicker of distant lightning, the low rumble of thunder, and the scent of salt and rain combined to create an atmosphere both exhilarating and foreboding. In that twilight hour, villagers locked their doors and shuttered their windows, while Mara pressed forward, guided by an inexplicable pull. She reached a cliff overlooking the tempestuous waters, where ancient rocks bore silent witness to countless storms. There, amid the gathering chaos of nature, she saw a glimmer, an outline on the horizon that defied explanation. A structure, regal and impossibly grand, hovered on the edge of existence as if woven from storm clouds and moonlight. The mansion had come to life. The first time Mara laid eyes on the mansion, it was a vision of sublime terror and beauty. Rising from the depths of the storm, the mansion's tall arched windows shimmered with reflections of lightning, and its crumbling stone facade bore carvings that hinted at forgotten histories and ancient rites. Ivy and frost clung to its walls, and in the midst of the roaring wind, the faint sound of a bell, mournful and resonant, echoed like a memory from another world. Every detail of the mansion seemed both real and ethereal, as if it existed on the boundary between dreams and waking life. Mara noted the intricate tracery of wrought iron along the balconies and the ghostly silhouettes of gargoyles that guarded its eaves. A sense of both dread and wonder gripped her. Could this be the remnant of a once magnificent estate, or was it something altogether more mysterious, a creation of the storm itself, a living relic that emerged only when the heavens wept? Over the course of the stormy night, Mara made her way closer to the apparition. Battling wind and driving rain, she followed a narrow, slick path down the cliffside toward a secluded inlet where the mansion appeared to stand in fragile isolation. As she approached, the mansion seemed to pulse with life, a subtle glow emanating from its windows, as though the building harbored a beating heart. The air around her vibrated with a symphony of natural sounds, the relentless crash of waves against stone, the whistling of the wind through broken arches, and an almost imperceptible murmur of voices, as if the mansion itself were speaking in a forgotten tongue. Inside her journal, Mara recorded every observation, the way the storm's light revealed fleeting glimpses of opulent rooms, halls lined with portraits of somber faces, and corridors that stretched into endless darkness. The mansion was not merely a structure, it was a repository of memories, a monument to lives lived in joy and despair, of secrets too weighty for the passage of time. Every creak of wood and echo of footsteps in her mind hinted at stories waiting to be told. As midnight deepened and the storm raged with renewed vigor, Mara found herself at the mansion's imposing front door. The massive oak door, adorned with iron studs and intricate carvings of mythic beasts, stood slightly ajar, as if inviting her to cross the threshold. Summoning her courage, she pushed the door open and stepped into a vast entry hall, shrouded in dim light and shadows that danced to the rhythm of the storm outside. There in the center of the hall stood a solitary figure draped in a cloak as dark as the stormy night. The figure, with eyes that glowed like embers in the gloom, introduced himself in a voice that was both gentle and commanding. "I am Sebastian," he said, "the guardian of this mansion, a keeper of its secrets and its sorrow. You have come seeking answers, and the mansion has chosen you to bear witness to its tale." Sebastian explained that the mansion was bound to the storm, a realm that existed only when the elements converged in perfect chaos. It was built long ago by a family whose legacy was steeped in both triumph and tragedy, and its existence was maintained by an ancient pact with the forces of nature. When the storm's fury reached its peak, the mansion would appear, allowing its restless inhabitants, the echoes of a bygone era, to relive their memories and perhaps find the redemption that had eluded them in life. Over the next hours, as the storm carved its tail across the landscape, Sebastian guided Mara through the mansion's labyrinthine corridors. With each step, the ghostly figure recounted fragments of history, tales of a love that defied social norms, of bitter betrayals that shattered hearts, and of a family cursed by misfortune. In one neglected drawing room, faded portraits of stern visages and melancholic eyes lined the walls. In another, a grand piano, its keys chipped and its melodies long silenced, seemed to weep the sorrow of forgotten lullabies. Sebastian's voice wove the narrative of the mansion's origins. It was once the home of the Valtori family, a lineage renowned for their beauty and intellect, but doomed by a series of tragic events. A scandal that split the family apart and left scars that could not be healed. In their despair, they forged a pact with the Tempest, trading fleeting immortality for the chance to reunite with lost loved ones. And so, on stormy nights, the mansion would reappear to serve as both a sanctuary and a purgatory, a place where the living might glimpse the specters of the past and where the departed could finally speak their truth. In a secluded chamber lined with dusty books and relics, Mara encountered the lingering presence of a woman whose sadness permeated the very air. The woman whose spectral form shimmered with the soft luminescence of a waning candle revealed herself as Isadora, a member of the Valtori family whose tragic love story had become the stuff of legend. Isadora's tale was one of forbidden passion and heart-wrenching loss, Forced apart by duty and scandal, she had longed for a reunion that had been denied by fate. In the mansion's spectral existence, her voice was the softest melody, a bittersweet refrain that echoed through the corridors like a lament for what might have been. Isadora implored Mara to remember the beauty of love, even in the face of despair, to honor the memory of those who had suffered and to allow the mansion's sorrow to be a catalyst for healing rather than regret. Her gentle words and wistful smile stirred something deep within Mara, a recognition that the mansion's existence, however transient, held lessons that transcended time and pain. Outside, the storm reached its zenith. Thunder rolled across the sky with a mighty roar, and bolts of lightning illuminated the mansion in fleeting bursts of brilliance. In the midst of this tumult, the mansion itself seemed to vibrate with energy, as if absorbing the raw power of nature. Every echo of thunder was met with a corresponding chime from the mansion's bell, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to herald both an ending and a beginning. In that charged moment, Mara felt a profound connection to the mansion and its spectral inhabitants. The storm was more than a meteorological event. It was a symphony of life and loss, a dynamic interplay of creation and destruction that mirrored the human experience. The mansion's appearance on such nights was a reminder that even in the darkest, most violent moments, there existed a fragile beauty, a promise of transformation waiting to be embraced. As the night wore on, Mara's journey through the mansion led her to confront not only its external mysteries, but also the shadows within her own heart. In a quiet, forgotten study filled with journals and memories, she found herself face to face with reflections of her own past, the regrets, the moments of joy, and the lingering doubts that had long haunted her. Here, the mansion served as a mirror, reflecting back the inner world of those who dared to seek its secrets. Guided by Sebastian's reassuring presence in the gentle murmur of the mansion's ancient walls, Mara began to understand that the mansion was not merely a repository of sorrow, but also a place of healing. Its ephemeral nature was a lesson in impermanence, a reminder that all things, no matter how painful, eventually pass into memory and give way to renewal. In accepting her own past, Mara found the strength to embrace the present, to let go of what could not be changed, and to find beauty in the fleeting nature of life. As dawn's early light began to seep through the storm's retreating clouds, the mansion's features softened, and its once vivid outlines began to blur into the mists of memory. Sebastian gathered Mara in the grand entry hall, where the echoes of the night's revelations still lingered like ghostly refrains. The mansion must now fade, as it always does with the passing storm, he said quietly. But its legacy, the lessons of love, loss, and redemption, will remain within you. In that poignant moment, the deep chime of the mansion's bell resounded one final time, a sound that carried with it the weight of centuries and the promise of new beginnings. Mara felt a tear trace a quiet path down her cheek as she watched the spectral edifice dissolve into the early light, leaving behind only the memory of its magic and the indelible mark it had left upon her soul. Returning to Blackport in the soft light of a post-storm morning, Mara carried with her a sense of renewal. The villagers, who had long regarded the legend of the ephemeral mansion with a mix of awe and fear, now found comfort in her tale, a story of transformation and the enduring power of memory. In her leather-bound journal, Mara detailed every nuance of her journey, ensuring that the legacy of the mansion and its spectral inhabitants would be passed down to future generations. Over time, the mansion became a symbol not of haunting despair, but of hope. On stormy nights, when the winds howled and the skies darkened, the people of Blackport would speak of the mansion with reverence, a reminder that even in the most turbulent moments, beauty and truth could emerge from the chaos. Mara's story, shared at gatherings and festivals, inspired others to seek out the magic hidden in the world and to listen to the silent lessons of their own hearts. Now, many years later, as soft memories of stormy nights and spectral visions dance in the minds of those who remember. The legend of the mansion that exists only on stormy nights endures. Though it appears for only a fleeting moment before vanishing into the mists of time, its chime and its legacy remain a testament to the human spirit, the capacity to find light amid darkness, to confront sorrow with courage, and to transform loss into a promise of renewal. In quiet moments when the wind stirs and dark clouds gather once more, some say you can still hear the distant toll of a bell, a sound that calls to the wanderers and dreamers, inviting them to step beyond the boundaries of the known and to embrace the mystery of life's endless cycle of endings and beginnings. Marisol Delgado had always been captivated by winter's quiet magic. Growing up in the small mountain village of Frostwood, she'd listened to her grandmother's tales of spectral lights and enchanted places that revealed themselves only when nature lay hushed beneath winter's embrace. Yet one legend had always stirred her heart most profoundly: the tale of the bell tower that appeared only in winter. According to lore, when the nights grew long and the snow deepened, the tower would rise from the mist like a ghostly monument, its ancient stones gleaming under moonlight and its chime resonating with the sorrow and hope of bygone eras. That year, as the first frost crystallized the window panes of her modest cottage, Marisol felt an irresistible pull. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and the promise of secrets waiting to be revealed. With a warm cloak wrapped around her and a journal tucked in her satchel, she set out at dawn to follow the silent call of winter and the enigmatic promise of the tower. For days, Marisol journeyed through snow-dusted forests and along winding mountain paths. Each step was accompanied by the crunch of frost underfoot and the soft murmur of a world transformed by winter. One cold, clear evening, as the sky blushed with the colors of dusk, she reached a secluded clearing where the snow lay undisturbed. There, emerging through a gentle haze of falling snowflakes, she saw it, a towering structure of weathered stone that had not been there the day before. The bell tower rose with stately grace, its silhouette etched against a twilight sky. Frost adorned its arches and spires, glinting like diamonds in the fading light. Marisol stood in awe, scarcely daring to breathe, as the tower's presence seemed to quiet even the whispering wind. It was as though the tower had stepped forth from the realm of dreams, a silent sentinel that beckoned her to come closer. In the following days, word of the mysterious tower spread through Frostwood like wildfire. Elders recalled seeing it in their youth, when winter was even harsher and magic seemed a daily occurrence. They spoke of an age when the tower served as a beacon for those lost in sorrow, a place where the chime would call the grieving, the hopeful, and the wanderers to a shared destiny. Marisol visited the village's oldest resident, Mr. Aldridge, whose eyes held the glimmer of distant memories. "Ah, the tower," he murmured, settling into his creaking chair by the fire. "They say it rises when the world is cloaked in winter's deepest blue. Some believe it's built by the souls of those who long to be remembered, their regrets and dreams woven into each stone. Its chime, they say it carries the voices of the past, a lament and a promise all at once." His words, laced with wistful longing, deepened Marisol's resolve. She knew her path was set, not only to witness the tower's mysterious beauty, but to seek the truth hidden in its ancient echoes. Determined to uncover the secret behind the bell tower, Marisol began to compile every scrap of lore, every whispered legend that had passed down through generations. In the dusty archives of Frostwood's small library, she pored over brittle manuscripts and faded letters. One fragile document, penned by a long-departed monk, recounted an old ritual performed during winter solstice, a rite meant to awaken the tower, believed to be built by hands guided by a benevolent spirit and cursed by the sorrow of loss. The text hinted at an eternal cycle. As winter's grip tightened, the tower would emerge, tolling its bell to mark both an end and a beginning. That night, under a tapestry of starlight, Marisol sat by her window and listened to the wind as it howled through barren trees. The sound, melancholic and pure, seemed to carry a melody, a distant chime that echoed faintly, as if resonating from a realm beyond. In that quiet moment, she realized that her journey was as much about finding the truth behind the tower as it was about understanding her own hidden sorrows and unspoken dreams. As winter deepened, Marisol returned to the clearing where the tower had first appeared. Each visit, she observed subtle changes. The tower's position shifted ever so slightly, and its stones seemed to glow with an inner light during the darkest hours of night. One particularly cold evening, as a full moon bathed the landscape in silver, she heard the chime, a deep, resonant sound that rolled across the snow like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Marisol's heart pounded in time with the bell's toll. It was a sound both mournful and hopeful, carrying within it centuries of memory and longing. Overwhelmed by the profound emotion of the moment, she closed her eyes and allowed herself to be enveloped by the sound. In that instant, vivid images filled her mind. Visions of a time when the tower was a gathering place for those burdened by loss, when its chime offered solace and a promise of rebirth. The sound was a language beyond words, a language of the soul that called for remembrance, forgiveness, and the courage to embrace change. One night, while lingering near the tower as snowflakes danced in the cold air, Marisol encountered a solitary figure. Shrouded in a heavy cloak and with eyes that shimmered like ice, the stranger introduced himself as Elias, a traveler drawn to the magic of winter just as she was. Elias, too, had followed the legends of the bell tower across many wintry landscapes, and he spoke of his own encounters with the mysterious chime. Together they shared stories by the flickering light of a small campfire, the warmth of which stood in stark contrast to the biting chill around them. Elias recounted a vision in which the tower revealed the intertwined fates of lost lovers, promising that their reunion in the afterlife would be heralded by its toll. Marisol shared her own quiet dreams of healing and renewal. In each tale, the bell tower emerged as more than a mere structure. It was a beacon of hope amid despair, a silent witness to the impermanence of life and the possibility of transformation. Their friendship, forged in the crucible of winter's harsh beauty, deepened as they continued their nightly vigils by the tower. In each chime's echo, they found both answers and further mysteries, realizing that the tower's appearance was not random, but part of an eternal cycle of sorrow, remembrance, and redemption. Driven by their shared passion to unlock the tower's mysteries, Marisol and Elias began a meticulous study of its structure. Under the faint glow of their lanterns, they examined the intricate carvings that adorned the weathered stone. Each symbol told a story, a prayer for forgiveness, a tribute to lost souls, a promise of eternal light amid the dark. They discovered that many of these markings were written in a long-forgotten language, one that seemed to merge the spoken word with the silent language of the heart. Late one night, as a fierce blizzard howled outside, Elias gently pressed his hand against one of the carvings. In that touch, a surge of warmth and a flood of images overwhelmed him. A memory of a time when the tower was built by a devoted community seeking to preserve the legacy of their ancestors. The vision revealed a solemn ritual performed under the first snowfall of winter, where the tolling bell was meant to remind all that every ending harbored the seed of a new beginning. Marisol, witnessing his reverie, understood that the tower was a living archive of the village's collective soul, a repository of grief and hope intermingled. As the days grew shorter and winter's grip tightened, the bell tower began to resonate with increasing urgency. One crisp evening, as the moon emerged from behind swirling clouds, the tower's chime sounded with a clarity and power that shook the very ground beneath their feet. Marisol and Elias stood together in the clearing, their eyes locked in silent communion as the bell tolled, a sound that seemed to call out to every buried memory, every unspoken sorrow, and every forgotten dream. In that profound moment, Marisol felt a transformation stirring within her. The chime was not merely a warning of winter's severity, it was a call to confront the shadows of the past, to release the weight of regret, and to embrace the promise of renewal. She recalled the loneliness that had often haunted her heart, the loss of a loved one whose memory had dimmed over time. Now, in the resonant echo of the bell, she sensed a gentle invitation to heal, a reminder that even in the bitter cold, love and hope could endure. Elias, too, felt the stirring of long-suppressed emotions. The tower's toll awakened within him a bittersweet nostalgia, a longing to reconcile with the choices of his past and to find a path toward redemption. Together, beneath the star-swathed sky, they made silent vows to honor the lessons of the bell tower, to carry its message of transformation into their lives, and to share its legacy with those still searching for light in the darkness. As winter began its slow retreat and the first hints of spring's warmth crept across the valley, the bell tower gradually faded from view. Its presence, so vivid and potent during the cold months, dissolved into the mists as the snow melted and the days lengthened. Marisol and Elias returned to Frostwood, forever changed by the winter they had spent in the company of that spectral structure. In the days following the tower's disappearance, the valley seemed to hold its breath, a silent pause where nature remembered the toll of the bell and the voices it had awakened. The villagers spoke of the tower in reverent whispers, recounting how its chime had been both an omen and a benediction, a reminder that even the harshest winters eventually give way to the promise of spring. Marisol, her heart brimming with both sorrow and hope, documented every detail of her journey in a leather-bound journal. Her words captured the ephemeral magic of the winter nights and the eternal resonance of the bell tower's call. With the arrival of spring, Frostwood burst into life, a vivid tapestry of budding trees, flowing streams, and renewed laughter. Yet even as the village embraced the vibrancy of the new season, the memory of the winter bell tower lingered like a cherished dream. Marisol and Elias found themselves sharing their experiences with others, organizing small gatherings where villagers would recount the tower's chime and the lessons it had imparted. These stories became a source of comfort and inspiration, a reminder that every ending, no matter how icy and forlorn, is merely a prelude to a new beginning. Marisol began to travel beyond the valley, her journal and tales of the mysterious winter tower inspiring people in distant lands. She held workshops and spoke at gatherings, urging others to listen to the subtle music of their own hearts, to embrace the challenges of the past and to find within themselves the strength to transform sorrow into hope. Elias, too, devoted himself to preserving the ancient lore of Frostwood, recording not only the story of the bell tower, but also the timeless wisdom of those who had come before. Years turned into decades, and the legend of the bell tower that appeared only in winter became a cherished part of Frostwood's heritage. Though the tower itself was seen no more than once a year during the coldest nights, its echo resonated in every corner of the valley. Children grew up listening to the tale as a bedtime story, a reminder that magic exists in the most unexpected places, and that even in the harshest of seasons, there is beauty, mystery, and the promise of renewal. Marisol, now an elder with eyes still bright with wonder, often sat by the frozen river that ran through the village, recalling the winter when the tower's chime had transformed her life. She would speak softly of the power of facing one's inner shadows, of the need to honor both loss and love, and of the eternal cycle of endings and beginnings. And in those quiet moments, as the crisp winter air whispered around her, the faint sound of a distant bell seemed to ring out, a timeless reminder that hope endures even when the world is cloaked in ice. In the quiet solitude of another winter's night, when the valley is once again blanketed in pristine snow and the moon casts a silver glow over the land, there are those who say that if you listen closely, you can still hear it, the echo of a bell that appears only in winter. It is a sound that transcends time, a resonant call from the past that speaks of loss, transformation, and the eternal promise of a new dawn. For the people of Frostwood, the bell tower is more than a mysterious structure. It is a living symbol of resilience and renewal. Its legacy is woven into the very fabric of the valley, a silent testament to the idea that even in the coldest, darkest nights, there exists a light waiting to be rediscovered. And so, as each winter falls and the tower reappears in all its spectral glory, its chime calls forth the hearts of those who dare to dream, reminding them that in every ending lies the seed of a new beginning. In the modest village of Silver Creek, named for a gentle stream that meandered through sunlit meadows, lived a young woman named Liana Marlowe. Known for her vivid dreams and an insatiable curiosity about the unseen world, Liana often spent her nights awake, her mind wandering in the quiet moments before sleep overtook her. Since childhood, she had been haunted by recurring dreams of a river that sparkled under an impossible light, its waters carrying voices and visions that defied explanation. Unlike the ordinary creek that wound through her village, this river was ethereal, a waterway that seemed to exist only where the heart of a dream dared to wander. Liana's days were filled with the simple rhythms of village life, tending to her small garden, reading at the local library, and sharing quiet conversations with neighbors. Yet every night, when darkness settled in and her eyelids grew heavy, she felt a magnetic pull toward that otherworldly current, a call from the depths of her unconscious that whispered promises of secrets waiting to be unraveled. One crisp autumn night, when the wind carried the scent of fallen leaves and distant rain, Liana drifted into sleep with a sense of both trepidation and anticipation. In her dream, she found herself standing on the banks of a vast, luminous river. Its waters shimmered with an inner light that transformed every ripple into a cascade of silver and gold. The river's banks were lined with trees whose leaves glowed with gentle iridescence, and the air was filled with a soft, musical murmur, like the sound of distant chimes that echoed the pulse of the earth. Compelled by an indescribable force, Liana stepped forward. As her bare feet touched the smooth, glistening stones along the river's edge, she felt a rush of energy that seemed to awaken parts of her soul long dormant. The river flowed not only through the dreamscape, but also through her memories, carrying fragments of her past, her joys, and her sorrows. Each step along the bank revealed new vistas, meadows of floating light, archways formed of entwined branches, and reflections of faces that looked both familiar and strange. The river was alive with symbolism, a living tapestry woven from the threads of every dream she had ever dared to imagine. As Liana ventured further into the dream, she began to hear voices carried on the gentle current. They spoke in hushed tones, their words merging with the rustling of dreamtime breezes. Some voices were soft and mournful, recounting tales of lost loves and shattered hopes. Others were filled with wonder, urging her to embrace the potential of the unknown. One voice, resonant and tender, repeated a single phrase over and over. "Remember and be free." The phrase stirred deep within her, awakening a longing to uncover a truth buried beneath layers of forgotten emotion. In that surreal landscape, the river seemed to embody the very essence of transformation. Its ever-changing course suggested that time itself was fluid in the realm of dreams, a place where the past, present, and future danced together in a gentle, perpetual embrace. Liana's heart swelled with both melancholy and exhilaration as she realized that this river was not a mere figment of her imagination. It was a guide, an oracle that invited her to journey inward and confront the shadows that lingered within her soul. Upon awakening the next morning, Liana found herself unable to shake the vivid memories of the dream. Determined to understand the meaning behind the mystical river, she sought out the village elder, Master Corvin, a man reputed for his deep knowledge of folklore and ancient traditions. Over steaming cups of herbal tea in a snug candlelit study lined with dusty tomes, Master Corvin recounted old legends of the Dream River, a waterway that existed in the space between sleep and wakefulness, accessible only to those whose hearts were open to the magic of possibility. According to the ancient lore, the Dream River was believed to be the source of all creative inspiration and healing. It was said that its waters carried the power to mend broken hearts, to transform sorrow into wisdom, and to reveal hidden aspects of one's true self. Many in the past had sought the river's blessings, and some claimed that their lives were forever altered by its gentle touch. Master Corvin spoke of a ritual, simple yet profound, in which one might enter a state of deep meditation and allow the boundary between the conscious and the dream realm to dissolve. Liana listened intently, feeling as though every word was an invitation to embark on a journey that transcended the mundane and reached into the very heart of mystery. That very night, Liana prepared herself for another journey into the realm of dreams. Guided by Master Corvin's words and the soft light of a crescent moon streaming through her window, she retreated into a quiet, undisturbed space where she could surrender completely to sleep. She closed her eyes and, with a slow, deliberate breath, let go of the waking world. In her dream, the river beckoned her once again. This time its current seemed even more vibrant, its waters alive with colors that defied description. A tapestry of blues that melted into purples, streaks of fiery orange mingling with cool silver reflections. As Liana followed the gentle flow, she found herself drifting past floating islands of light and archways carved by the hands of unseen dreamsmiths. Each moment felt timeless, as though she were suspended in a state of eternal twilight where every second held the weight of countless possibilities. Along the banks, she encountered figures that shimmered like ephemeral memories, guardians of the dream realm whose eyes glowed with ancient wisdom. One such figure, clad in robes of mist and starlight, stepped forward and greeted her with a nod. "You have come seeking the truth within," the guardian intoned softly. "The river flows not just in dreams, but within every heart that dares to remember its own forgotten desires." The guardian's words resonated deeply within Liana, filling her with both comfort and a profound sense of responsibility. It was as if the river itself had chosen her to be its messenger, to carry its secrets into the waking world. As the journey continued, the dreamscape grew increasingly intricate and challenging. The once gentle current of the river transformed into swift rapids, and dark, twisting tributaries emerged from shadowy recesses. Liana found herself navigating obstacles that mirrored her inner struggles, moments of self-doubt, regret, and fear that threatened to overwhelm her. At times, the river's flow seemed to carry her backward, forcing her to confront painful memories she had long buried. The loss of a cherished friend, the sting of unspoken goodbyes, and the wounds of betrayal that still festered in the hidden corners of her soul. In these turbulent moments, the luminous water of the Dream River became a mirror for her innermost pain. Yet even as the currents roared and the night darkened, Liana sensed that the river's purpose was not to punish, but to heal. With each challenge, she learned to let go of old burdens, to trust in the transformative power of her own heart. Slowly, she discovered that the river's shifting tides were guiding her toward a deeper understanding of herself. A realization that the obstacles in her path were not barriers, but stepping stones on the journey to self-reconciliation. At the heart of the dreamscape, where the river widened into a vast, serene lake that reflected an endless sky, Liana encountered a moment of profound clarity. Here, the boundaries between dream and reality, past and future, began to blur. The lake's surface was like a mirror of infinity, capturing the light of countless stars and the soft glow of a moon that never waned. It was here that the guardian reappeared, now seated on a smooth stone at the water's edge. "Behold the convergence," the guardian murmured, gesturing toward the tranquil expanse. "This is the place where the river of dreams meets the wellspring of the soul. In this stillness, you will find the answers you seek, for here the essence of your being is laid bare in its purest form." As Liana gazed into the reflective waters, she saw not only her own face but the faces of those who had come before, each carrying their own stories of joy and sorrow, love and loss. The vision was overwhelming, a tapestry of interconnected lives and dreams that transcended the confines of time. In that moment, Liana understood that the Dream River was not an isolated phenomenon, but a manifestation of a universal truth, that every human heart is a reservoir of hopes, memories, and hidden desires. The river's flow was the pulse of collective imagination, an ever-present current that nourished the spirit and allowed the world to dream anew. As the vision slowly faded, Liana felt an inner warmth spread through her, a gentle, radiant energy that seemed to fill every corner of her being. The challenges of the turbulent rapids, the sorrow of the dark tributaries, and the luminous serenity of the converging lake had all merged into a single, transformative experience. She realized that the Dream River had bestowed upon her a gift, the ability to see beyond the ordinary, to understand that the realm of dreams held the power to heal and to inspire. When she awoke the next morning, the memories of her nocturnal journey were vivid and alive. Every detail, from the shimmering hues of the water to the gentle voice of the guardian, remained etched in her mind. With newfound clarity and resolve, Liana began to record her experiences in a leather-bound journal, determined to share the wisdom of the Dream River with others who might feel lost or burdened by the weight of unfulfilled desires. In the days and weeks that followed, Liana's life underwent a quiet yet profound transformation. She became a storyteller and a guide, inviting others to explore the inner landscapes of their own dreams. In the village of Silver Creek, she organized small gatherings where people would share their nighttime visions and the emotions that accompanied them. Through her gentle encouragement, many discovered that the mysterious river was not a mere fantasy confined to the realm of sleep. It was a symbol of hope, resilience, and the limitless potential of the human spirit. Local artists found inspiration in her tales, painting surreal landscapes that captured the ephemeral beauty of the Dream River. Musicians composed melodies that echoed its gentle, flowing rhythm, and poets wove verses that spoke of journeys beyond the veil of ordinary existence. In every shared story, there was a spark of the ineffable magic that Liana had experienced, a reminder that even in the quiet solitude of sleep, the heart could find a current of renewal. As the seasons turned and years passed, the legend of the river that only flowed in dreams grew into a cherished part of local lore. Liana's journal, filled with the details of her nocturnal adventures and the wisdom gleaned from the guardian of the dreamscape, became a treasured heirloom for those who sought to understand the language of their inner worlds. The river, though invisible to the waking eye, lived on in the collective memory of the village, a symbol of the eternal connection between the seen and unseen, the known and the mysterious. In time, Liana's teachings spread far beyond Silver Creek. Scholars, artists, and seekers of truth from distant lands journeyed to hear her speak about the transformative power of dreams and the river that coursed through them. In every retelling of her story, the river remained an enduring metaphor, a reminder that the true essence of life is found not only in the clarity of daylight, but also in the gentle, uncharted waters of the dream world. Now, in the twilight of her own life, Liana Marlowe often sat by her window as dusk turned to night, gazing at the darkened landscape with a serene smile. Though her mortal eyes could no longer behold the radiant hues of the dream river, she carried its light within her heart, a luminous current that sustained her spirit. Each time she closed her eyes to sleep, she welcomed the familiar murmur of that mystical water, knowing that in that secret realm, every soul could find solace, renewal, and the courage to dream again. The river that only flows in dreams remains an eternal testament to the hidden depths of the human heart, a silent invitation to journey beyond the boundaries of the waking world and discover the infinite reservoirs of hope, creativity, and healing that lie within us all. In a small village tucked away among rolling hills and misted valleys, young Aaron grew up on tales of wonder. His grandmother, a woman whose eyes sparkled with secrets of bygone days, often recounted the legend of the candle of eternal light, a candle that burned without flame. In the evenings by the hearth, as the wind rattled the ancient window panes and shadows danced on the walls, she spoke of a time when the candle was hidden deep within the ruins of an old monastery, waiting to be discovered by one whose heart was pure and curious. Aaron's imagination was ignited by these stories. He would wander along the winding country roads, his mind filled with visions of radiant light and magic. Though the village was modest and its people simple, the legend of the unlit candle filled Aaron with a sense of purpose. He vowed that one day he would seek out the mysterious object, not only to witness its marvel, but also to understand the deeper truth it symbolized. That light need not come from a roaring blaze to banish darkness. One fateful summer, when the air was thick with the scent of blooming wildflowers and the days stretched out lazily beneath a cobalt sky, Aaron embarked on a journey that would change his life. Guided by fragments of lore and the secret maps hidden among his grandmother's old letters, he set off toward the ancient ruins of the long-abandoned monastery known as Celestine Keep. The monastery, perched on a craggy hilltop and veiled in swirling mists, had once been a center of learning and mysticism, its halls echoing with the prayers and incantations of devoted monks. After a long and arduous trek through overgrown pathways and crumbling stone arches, Aaron reached a secluded chamber deep within the monastery's forgotten wing. There, on a stone pedestal carved with delicate symbols of hope and renewal, sat a candle unlike any he had ever seen. It was slender and unadorned by wax or wick, yet it glowed with an ethereal light that bathed the chamber in a serene luminescence. No flame danced upon it, only a soft, steady radiance that seemed to pulse in time with the silent rhythm of the universe. In that moment, Aaron knew he had found the legendary candle his grandmother had spoken of. In the days that followed his discovery, Aaron devoted himself to understanding the mystery of the candle. He consulted ancient manuscripts in the monastery's crumbling library and sought the wisdom of the village's elders, who remembered fragments of the old lore. What he learned was as puzzling as it was profound. The candle was believed to be a conduit between the seen and unseen realms, a beacon of inner illumination that revealed truths hidden in the depths of the soul. Scholars and mystics had long debated the nature of light and darkness, and the candle of eternal light, as it was now known, was said to burn by harnessing the pure essence of memory, hope, and the dreams of generations past. Unlike a flame that consumed its fuel, this candle was nourished by the intangible, by the silent strength of hearts united in love, sorrow, and joy. Its light was a reminder that true illumination came not from the brilliance of fire, but from the quiet power of inner conviction. Aaron spent many nights in meditation before the candle, allowing its subtle glow to guide his thoughts. In the stillness of those hours, visions emerged, fleeting images of a world where shadows and light danced in perfect harmony, where every lost hope found its way back into the embrace of memory. The candle revealed that its burn was not an act of defiance against the dark, but a celebration of the light that resided within every human spirit. Word of the candle's existence slowly spread through secret channels, reaching the ears of those both curious and covetous. As Aaron continued his study, he encountered challenges that tested his resolve. One such trial came in the form of a mysterious wanderer known only as Serene, a scholar of ancient magic who claimed to have spent years searching for the candle. With eyes that held both melancholy and fierce determination, Selene warned Aaron that such a relic was both a blessing and a burden. "It is not enough to possess the light," she said one moonlit evening as they sat under the stars near Celestine Keep. "You must be prepared to confront the darkness within. For only when you have reconciled your own shadows can you truly understand the flame that burns without flame." Her words echoed in Aaron's mind as he wrestled with his inner doubts. Could he embrace not only the wonder of the candle, but also the truths it demanded he face? Thus began a journey inward as much as outward. Aaron sought to reconcile with past sorrows, to forgive old wounds, and to accept the complexities of his own nature. In doing so, he found that the candle's glow grew brighter and steadier, a mirror of the clarity that came from self-acceptance. The trials, though arduous, became stepping stones on his path to inner illumination. In time, Aaron learned that he was not alone in his quest. Hidden in the remote corners of the realm were others who had encountered strange, unlit lights. Guardians of ancient wisdom, whose lives were intertwined with the mysteries of the candle of eternal light. One such guardian was an elderly monk named Brother Julian, who had spent decades in silent contemplation within the ruins of Celestine Keep. Julian taught Aaron that the candle was more than a relic. It was a symbol of the eternal interplay between hope and despair, light and darkness. Together with Selene and Brother Julian, Aaron embarked on a pilgrimage to visit sacred sites that were said to be touched by the candle's mysterious energy. They traveled through misty forests, across windswept moors, and over ancient stone bridges where time itself seemed to stand still. At each site, subtle clues, an inscription on a weathered wall, the arrangement of wildflowers in a hidden glen, a whispered legend shared by an old wanderer, pointed to the deeper significance of the unlit flame. The journey was as much about discovering forgotten truths as it was about healing old scars. In quiet moments around small campfires, the trio shared their innermost fears and hopes. They found solace in knowing that every soul carried within it a spark of the same light that the candle embodied, a light that could guide one through even the darkest of nights. On a crisp winter night, beneath a sky sprinkled with stars, the companions returned to the monastery where the candle had first been discovered. In the silent chill of the ancient stone corridors, Ariane sat before the candle of eternal light, now carefully transported to a sanctum within the monastery. The atmosphere was charged with expectancy, as if the very walls were aware that something momentous was about to unfold. In the quiet glow of the candle, Aaron experienced a vision that transcended ordinary dreams. He saw the faces of those who had come before, lost souls who had struggled, loved, and found meaning in the interplay of light and dark. He saw the gentle hand of fate guiding each of their lives, and he understood that the candle's unlit flame was a reflection of a truth that was both universal and deeply personal. The vision revealed that the candle's magic lay not in defying nature, but in revealing the natural beauty of transformation. Its flame, though unseen, burned in the hearts of those who dared to embrace both their light and their shadow. Aaron felt a surge of gratitude for the journey that had led him here, and a renewed sense of purpose. He understood that by sharing the wisdom of the unlit flame, he could help others discover the luminous power that resided within themselves. Yet as with all things of great power, the candle's secret was coveted by those who sought to control it for their own gain. Dark forces stirred in distant lands, powerful individuals who believed that harnessing the candle's mysterious energy would grant them dominion over life and death. Rumors of shadowy figures and clandestine agents began to spread, and soon Aaron and his companions found themselves the target of threats designed to silence their quest for truth. In the face of these challenges, Aaron was forced to confront not only external adversaries, but also the doubts that gnawed at the edges of his resolve. There were nights when the silence of the monastery was broken by the echo of distant footsteps and the whisper of conspiracies. Yet through these trials, Aaron learned that true faith was forged in adversity. The candle's glow, unwavering and pure, became his anchor in the storm. With the support of Celine, Brother Julian, and the steadfast villagers who had come to believe in the power of inner light, he stood against those who sought to extinguish the spirit of hope. In a climactic confrontation beneath a sky roiled with storm clouds, the forces of darkness attempted to seize the candle. But in that moment, the unlit flame shone forth with a brilliance that defied human understanding, a silent, powerful radiance that scattered the shadows and reminded all present that light, in its truest form, could never be contained. The victory was not one of grand spectacle, but of quiet resilience. The adversaries retreated into the darkness, leaving behind whispers of defeat and the lingering sense that the balance of light and shadow had been preserved. In the years that followed, Aaron and his companions dedicated themselves to sharing the profound lessons of the candle of eternal light with all who would listen. They established gatherings where people from far and wide could come to learn about the power of self-acceptance, the beauty of transformation, and the truth that even a candle that burns without flame could illuminate the darkest of nights. Under Aaron's guidance, the ancient monastery was restored to a place of pilgrimage, a sanctuary where seekers could find solace and inspiration. Artists painted ethereal murals inspired by the candle's soft glow. Poets composed verses that captured the delicate interplay of light and shadow, and musicians created haunting melodies that echoed the rhythm of the unlit flame. The legacy of the candle spread far beyond the borders of the small land, a timeless testament to the idea that true illumination comes not from what is seen, but from what is felt deep within the heart. As seasons turned to years and years melded into a gentle tapestry of memory, Aaron found that the journey was far from over. The candle, now enshrined in the heart of the monastery, continued to burn without flame, a quiet guardian of hope and transformation that challenged every soul to look within and embrace both their light and their darkness. Aaron, now weathered by time but ever radiant in spirit, traveled throughout distant lands, sharing the story of the unlit flame and the lessons he had learned on his quest. Everywhere he went, he encountered others who carried their own inner light, sometimes dimmed by sorrow or obscured by fear. With gentle words and the silent promise of the candle's radiance, he helped them kindle the spark of renewal within themselves. In each new encounter, he was reminded that the true magic of the candle lay not in the mystery of its unlit flame, but in the infinite capacity of the human spirit to illuminate its own path, even when the fire of life seemed all but extinguished. In the twilight of his life, Aaron returned once more to the restored monastery, a place that had become a beacon of hope and a repository of ancient wisdom. There, in a quiet chamber lined with the soft glow of candlelight from countless other unlit candles that had been inspired by his own journey, he sat in meditation before the original candle of eternal light. As he gazed at its gentle radiance, Aaron recalled the long and arduous path that had brought him here. He remembered the whispered legends of his childhood, the trials that had tested his resolve, the voices of friends and guardians who had guided him through both joy and despair. In that sacred silence, he understood that the candle's power was eternal, not because it burned with a visible flame, but because its light was the light of every soul that dared to dream, to hope, and to rise again after every fall. With his final breaths, Aaron inscribed a simple message on a scroll, a message meant to be passed down to all who would seek the light within themselves. May your heart always burn with the quiet brilliance of a candle that needs no flame. Long after Aaron's passing, the story of the candle of eternal light became woven into the timeless tapestry of lore. Generations came and went, yet the unlit candle continued to shine, a silent reminder that true illumination is born of the spirit and not of transient fire. Pilgrims still journeyed to the monastery, each seeking the solace and wisdom that could only be found in the soft, unwavering glow of a light that burns without flame. In every whispered prayer, in every heartfelt confession, and in every moment of quiet introspection, the candle's radiance lived on. It became a symbol of hope, a promise that no matter how dark the night or how heavy the burden, there was always a spark within waiting to ignite the possibility of a new dawn.